My question today is, can you be flying too high on this amazing journey? Because I had somebody tell me I was flying too high.
Well,
sorry.
This is what they probably meant. You're flying too high for me to keep up with you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sometimes people who are up close to you, who really, really care about you, you let your hair down with them. So you talk to them when you're flying high, and you talk to them when you're laying low. And they remember both. And some people who don't understand how this process works think that the higher you fly, the harder it is when you crash and fall. But that's not how it is. So some of that is because you've revealed yourself to them, and they're just worried about you not being able to maintain your altitude. They mean well. They just don't understand.
Why does sometimes it feel so wrong?
To fly high?
Well, no. I love flying this high.
What feels wrong? We want to hear you out on that. Why does sometimes...
This person's taken themselves out of my life, and it's my mother. And it feels so good.
Well, the reason it is logical that it would be your mother, the reason that it is logical is because there is no one who has directed their personal thought using you as the object of attention more. No one other than yourself has thought so much about you. No one other than you has cared so much about your well-being. So we used to say this constantly, that when you really, really want something and you're focused in opposition to it, it feels really, really bad. If someone called you on the telephone and said, "Hello, you don't know me. I'm just calling to tell you that I will never call you again," you would say, "All righty then, thanks for letting me know." But if someone you really care about were to say that to you, it would hurt really, really bad, because your desire for that relationship is a very, very strong desire. To have that relationship would feel terrible. And so, are you saying to us that you just could not endure the condition of the relationship, so you had to physically separate? Because you see, what happens, usually you're not really separating only from your mother, you're separating from your own inner being, who will not separate from your mother. So when you say it feels really good to have this separation, we think that these are degrees of resistance, and there are some degrees of resistance that feel worse than other degrees of resistance. But there's a whole lot of connection that you're not in the vicinity of. When it feels like relief, when doing something feels like relief, you're just measuring levels of resistance, really. When it feels joyful, now you're on the other end of the vibrational equation, you see. So, want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure. I got sober 14 years ago. She said I couldn't do that. Thank you.
All right. Now, this matters a lot, because it doesn't matter so much what happened 14 years ago. But just now, you said something so wonderful that some people began to applaud. I got sober 14 years ago. And you carried with you a grudge right to this moment. And she said, I couldn't do it. So, what is that vibrational stance? Why are you needing to prove something to your mother that she's incapable of seeing, or maybe that she was so incapable of seeing so long that now you're incapable of seeing her see it? You see, that's what you're mad at. You're mad at your inability to see it, and you're blaming her for it.
That makes sense.
You're not the only one. Everybody does it. And everybody does it frequently. Because you don't want to feel that way. That's not a natural way for you to feel. And so it feels like there should be some explanation of why you feel like that. The reason I feel that way is because my mother did not believe in me, and I proved her wrong. I proved her wrong about me. Oh, how tangled up that is. I proved her wrong about me, meaning what you think she thinks about you isn't even accurate. You've created a scenario of her thoughts based upon a few little pieces that you've picked, quite a few little pieces that you've picked up along your physical trail, and you've created a scenario that you are now holding her accountable to. So she couldn't change if she wanted to for you. She could be a very different person to everybody else that she has a relationship with, but she cannot change for you as long as your expectation holds her in that place. And you know it does, because you said, I got sober 14 years ago, and my mother said I couldn't do it. You brought it all right here. It's active now.
Okay.
Ooh, this is so good. This is so good. It matters, doesn't it? And so, how you free yourself of that. In other words, we've been saying to you for a long time that freedom from resistance is the only freedom that exists. It's not freedom from what you think your mother thinks. Because tomorrow she's going to think a new thought. You can't follow them around and make sure that they think about you in the right way. Oh, that's such hard work, isn't it? I know what you're thinking and I don't like it. How do you know what I'm thinking? Because I know what you used to think. And it's logical that you're still thinking that. And I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. And we say, you all are just weird. Because all of your power is here and now. And life has caused you to become so much. And the only thing that matters is you becoming, you letting yourself wholly become what you have become. And what anybody else thinks about that is completely irrelevant. So that you want to say, I was ready to be ready, and I got sober 14 years ago, and all of these wonderful things have happened, and what I'm reaching for tomorrow, but you're not dragging along all that stuff that is resistant in nature. How do you let go of it? How do you let go of that? Jump trains. Jump trains every chance you get. Every time you start to tell that story, think about this analogy about jumping trains and stand there in your mind and think, I might splat on the side of that train, but I'm going for it anyway. It's worth the attempt of going the other direction on this, because I can't meditate right now. I'm at work, or I'm driving my car, not a good time. You think you can do it?
Absolutely.
Tell us about your beautiful mother, who cares more for you than life itself, who opened an avenue for you to come into this experience. Do you know the vibrational alignment that was present then when she made an avenue for you into your physical body?
She raised 4 kids, the best that she could, and I appreciate her for that. And
her inability to keep up with me is really no reflection on her, because nobody can keep up with anybody. We are all individually moving into alignment with our own inner beings. And our need for others to understand us or to keep up with us is our path to bondage. That's a conditional love that will always let us down.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Thank you.